Hey, what's up, Street Gods? Derek from Street Photography Talk. So today I want to show the brand new street photography visualization by my younger sister, Annette Kim. If you want to commission her for your own visualization, hit up AnnetteKimArt@gmail.com. I'll include a link in the description below. But one of the most difficult things in photography and street photography is to find out the ultimate best camera for street photography. And in reality, there is no perfect camera in street photography. Trust me, I've used all the cameras over the last 6 years, and I want to just give you guys a personal overview on this visualization and a way for you guys to think of finding more inspiration to actually make more pictures. So the first requirements you got to think about is, there's thousands of cameras out there for street photography. How are you going to choose the perfect camera for you? So what you need out of your street photography camera gear, you need it to be small, compact, always with you. You need the image quality to be good enough to just capture the emotion of a scene. Also, you want it to be simple. You don't want to struggle over using the settings. It's essentially just set it and forget it. So that's why I'm actually a big fan of using P or program mode in street photography, because it allows me to keep things simple for me to shoot more. And also, I think in photography and the camera, you want the camera to be as small and unobtrusive as possible as a way for you to connect with other people, to document every single day life, and for photography to be an extension of your eye, your arm, and your whole self. And ultimately, the best thing about street photography is the best way to build self-confidence in yourself is that you want to use a camera that prevents you from feeling anxiety or feeling self-conscious. And therefore, just ask yourself the question, if you already own a camera that fits these requirements above, you already have the best camera. And also realize that sometimes the best cameras for street photography are just phones. Smartphones are fantastic, iPhones, Android, whatever it may be. The best camera is the one that is small, it's inconspicuous, and empowers you to make more pictures. Personally, I like to follow the one camera, one lens philosophy. And my personal issue with gas or gear acquisition syndrome is you're always looking for that perfect camera and lens that fulfills all your needs because you think the camera and the lens and the gear is going to empower you to make better pictures or to make more pictures. And trust me, I've fallen victim to this myself. But realize that the perfect camera doesn't exist because all cameras have pros and cons. Things for you guys to think about, realize that the best camera is probably the one you already own. No matter what digital camera you own, in about 6 months, it can get outdated. Also, try to find out the best one camera, one lens to suit your personal needs. And obviously, I'm just sharing my opinion, but a good way to think about it is don't be a maximizer, which is somebody who tries to find the 100% perfect camera for all situations. Rather, be a satisficer, which is a combination of the word satisfaction and suffice, which is find a camera that's 80% good enough for your needs, and then rather than thinking that it was better, think of ways that the disadvantages of the camera can actually help you be more creative. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Because realize that the true goal in photography and street photography in life is to not worry so much about our stuff, our gear, our equipment, blah, 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 but for us to just make more pictures, for us to make more art. And practical reasons why all you need is one camera, one lens. Gets rid of choice anxiety. So there's something that I personally fall into, which is paralysis by analysis, is that if I own too many clothes, if I own too many cameras, there's mental energy necessary to make these small micro decisions, which is stressful. So for example, in the past when I've owned many different cameras, before going out to take pictures, I would spend like 15 minutes just like agonizing over what camera, what lens to bring with me. And ultimately, of course, I bring them all. And then I'm out shooting in the streets and I'm like, okay, this would be a good wide angle shot. So I take out my wide angle lens. Oh no, now the subject's too far away. I'm gonna use my zoom lens. You put it on the zoom lens. And it's just more anxiety and more stress. The ultimate purpose for you to make more pictures. Also, there's something called GAS, which is gear acquisition syndrome. And pretty much what GAS is you're not satisfied with your pictures and you think that buying more camera gear is going to bring you more happiness. And personally, trust me, like even now, like I'm like the biggest Apple fanboy. Is a new Apple something comes out and I'm like, I must buy it because it's going to empower me, it's going to make me feel more sexy and confident, whatever. But in reality, it never does. So also realize that having one camera, one lens is a good thing because it's a creative constraint, which means Oftentimes, limitations in your photography and your visual art is good because it forces you to become more resourceful. So for example, the reason I'm a big fan of non-interchangeable lens cameras or lenses that don't zoom or wide angle prime lenses is because the truth is there is not a perfect focal length or lens for every single situation in the world. And rather than trying to always have the perfect lens, it's using the limitation of the perspective to be more creative. So let me give you an example. If you're shooting with a 35mm lens and you're not close enough, use your foot zoom. Just force yourself to walk closer to your subject, and then this will be a good creative constraint because it'll actually encourage you to become more confident. Another thing to think about is, let's say the scene is too wide, then rather than trying to get super wide, trying to just focus on small details. So rather than complaining about your gear saying, oh, the camera is too slow and blah, blah, maybe the slowness of the camera could be a benefit, is that it forces you to slow down, be more considered when you shoot. Also, I think the good thing in photography is for you to focus on mastering one camera, one lens. Doesn't mean you have to use the same camera and same lens for the rest of your life, but in order for you to really become a master photographer, you want to know the gear without having to even look or think. So by focusing on one camera, one lens for a very long time, you'll master the camera inside and out, and therefore it's going to let you think less about the technical settings and more focus on actually making pictures. Also, by not spending as many money on camera equipment, you're going to have more money to spend on experiences and travels and attending workshops and books, because these are the best tools for us to become better visual artists, not buying new cameras and lenses. And trust me, every single hobby this happens. You play tennis. Oh, I buy the new tennis racket, I'm going to be a better tennis player. Or even in cooking, oh, I just buy the new knife or that new pot, I'll become a better chef. Or as a writer, oh, I just buy that new laptop or that new pen, I'll write better prose, but it never happens. And also, once again, by spending less money on camera equipment, just sticking with one camera, one lens, maybe, or you're sticking to the camera lens you already have, use that money to explore and actually live your life and have more time to go out and shoot. So ultimately, my personal favorite camera in street photography is the Ricoh GR version 2. The reason why I love it is it's small, it fits in your front pocket, so it's always with me. It's lightweight, doesn't weigh me down, has a low profile, doesn't look flashy, people are more comfortable. I love this image that my sister Annette made. Is like, hey, the little happy Ricoh face. I actually might do a screen cap of this. That's actually pretty awesome. But anyways, also the LCD screen. I actually personally prefer to use an LCD screen, not a viewfinder in street photography, because it allows me to be more flexible. So I could put the camera super low angles on the ground, hold it super high up, or stick out my arm, which actually allows me to get closer to my subject rather than having to hold the camera up to my face and get physically closer to my subject. And also, yeah, the price is very reasonable. It's around 600 bucks. So obviously it's not cheap or free. So that's also another con. Also, the downside of the Ricoh GR version 2, there is a bit of a shutter lag. There's a little bit of a delay. Autofocus is a little bit slow. But I've personally found that for me, the Ricoh GR version 2 is my personal favorite street photography camera, because once again, it's not a perfect camera, but it suits my needs about 80% good enough. So some ultimate tips and lessons and thoughts from Monsieur Kim is: 1, realize that buying a new camera won't bring you happiness. The truth is, buying anything like a new car, a new house, new outfit, whatever, you'll be excited for the first few weeks, but then the effect wears off. This is in psychology called the hedonic treadmill, is that you buy a new something and then it brings you joy and then it fades, and in order to stay on top of that treadmill to keep feeling good, you just keep buying more stuff. So it's kind of like the Red Queen's race. I think it's something from Lewis Carroll and Alice in Wonderland, is that in order to stay in space, to stay on the same spot, you have to keep buying, keep consuming in order to feel the same happiness. Tip 2, focus on experiences rather than equipment. So to me, I personally spend a lot of my money traveling, on going to nice little Indian restaurants with Cindy, and to me, experiences are what makes us human, not stuff and equipment. So all the money I spent on traveling, coffee, going to coffee shops and cafes, and spending time with my loved ones or friends, to me, these experiences will last with me for the rest of my life. And whatever equipment you buy will eventually lose its luster, will become outdated or whatever, but experiences will always stay with you in your heart. Tip 3, buy books, not gear. So I've personally spent about, let's say $7,000 on camera books and photography books, art books over the last 5 years, and it's probably been the best investment I made with my personal money. Not to say you had to spend that much money on photo books, but I would recommend, rather than looking at forums and gear reviews, blah blah, try to buy at least one really nice photo book once a month. You know, it could be 20 bucks, it could be 50 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever it may be, and really try to study the images and figure out what makes a great project. And the great thing with studying photo books is that it actually will inspire you to actually make more pictures. Generally, I like to sit down with a nice cup of coffee, look through a photo book, and take your time, not just looking pictures on your phone or your laptop or your iPad, because you'll still have the distractions, you know, oh, I gotta check my email and check blogs or whatever. So always buy books, not gear. Even if you spend 50 bucks on a photo book and inspires you to go out and make more pictures, economically it makes more sense than spending a few hundred or a few $1,000s on a camera that actually probably won't motivate you to make more pictures. Also, realize that in photography and life, it's not about the gear, it's about what you could do with the gear. So if you're the ultimate chef, you know, you're not showing off because you have a $10,000 knife. No, it's like you could actually fucking cook a good meal. So that's actually one thing I loved about what Kai did with Digital Rev is, you know, pro photographer, cheap camera, to realize that, you know, obviously there are advantages with having better equipment and better gear, but actually sometimes playing the underdog of having shittier gear is actually a benefit for you to show off your prowess and your skills. That is actually not the camera, the equipment, which is what makes you. Last tip is be like a kid and have fun. Choose the smallest, most unobtrusive camera. And generally that's why I like phones for photography and street photography, because if you gave a kid a DSLR, they wouldn't have fun. Just give them the phone. Just let them run around and shoot from low angles. Keep it simple, keep it clean. If you want to commission your own visual art visualization, hit up my sister, Annette Kim. Her email is AnnetteKimArt@gmail.com. I'll include a link below. If you want to learn more about haptic products, go to hapticindustries.com, go to Haptic. And if you want to access the full resolution version of this, you know, just Google Eric Kim blog. All right, go there. Click menu, go to shop. And the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Shooting Street Photography. It's a free digital download. And you'll have access to all of our other dope visualizations that my sister Annette made, how to overcome your fear of photographing strangers, what to look for when you're shooting street photography, and of course the newest one, how to find the perfect camera for you. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Stay updated with stuff in the Haptic store. Click menu, click shop. Lots of cool new dopeness coming out. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and thank you guys for all the love and support. Peace out.